I'll bring in on this broadcast our political panelists as well. We've got R.P. Singh, spokesperson of the BJP, and Anshul Avijit, national spokesperson of the Congress. Good evening, gentlemen. Thank you for your time. Anshul, I'd like to begin with you on the statement made by Rahul Gandhi. Look, it's one thing to question, Anshul, the tariffs that have been imposed by Trump, the impact of it, which is what Rahul Gandhi has done. But is it an exaggeration then to follow that up by calling India a dead economy?
No, absolutely not. In fact, I think, Mr. Gandhi put it rather mildly. I'm going to go even further. The economy has been systematically destroyed and killed by this government, beginning with demonetization, completely destroyed India's backbone. If you remember, after that, the GDP precipitated to levels that they came down even further during COVID. Then there was that clunky GST that took 11 years to get a reform. I just heard Siddharth say that 2025 was the year of reform. If you're going to take 7 years to reform a bad law, then you can imagine the pace in which the government is moving. We are absolutely doomed in that case. Then after GST came a lowering of corporate tax. They removed it. They thought it would, somehow unleash animal spirits in private investment. That didn't happen. Then you had COVID, where household savings completely plummeted. You've got decreasing investment in health and education that is seen by the budget year after year. Akshita, go and have a look at it. Please go and have a look at it. And time and again, the macro figures that are emerging are absolutely disturbing. Now, I'll just give you one macro figure. You'll say that the GDP in the Q2 was 8.2%, but the nominal GDP was 8.9%. So the real and nominal GDP are, being technical here, moving in opposite directions. That's a clear disastrous sign. Your wholesale price index is barely nothing, which means there's no demand. There's no private investment. That's one of the questions Rajdeep also asked. Where is the private investment? And mind you, anyone who goes to Davos, you're a large contingent people who it's a capitalist corporate gathering. Do you think anyone is going to say a bad thing? That no, India is doomed. What kind of
why not, Anshul? No,
action are you going to expect? Do you
come
think
on, these are global economies. They have no skin in the game.
No. There, it's a different. Come on, nobody's obvious there. They won't get visas next time to come to India. Yeah, what are you saying? You know what happened to academics?
Then Geeta Gopinath would not talk about pollution. She would not be honest and candid about pollution.
Exactly my point. They moderated their replies by saying, no, our policy is fickle. It's got to look at again. The pollution is not there. Rajdeep asked the question about lack of transparency in data, which is clearly shows you haven't had a national census in the last 12 years. You just started it now. That means all your data coming in is to 2011. Right? How can you develop economic policies if you don't know the population of your country? And therefore, it's a lack of transparency. It also said, the last gentleman that Rajdeep spoke to said that India is not in the conversation in the global economy. He said China versus America, that you hear, we are completely marginal players. That is seen from the macro data, the FDIs that are coming in. I can go on and on, Akshita. This is my favorite topic. And I can just go on.
Anshul, I will have a follow-up question for you, but let me give a chance to the BJP first to make their opening comments. Mr. R.P. Singh, go ahead. You've heard Anshul Avijit there. Talk about how and why the Congress believes that India is a dead economy. Your response?
Well, Akshita, there's a part in the brain which is called parietal cortex. Well, probably Rahul Gandhi has a problem with that. That's why I see his parietal cortex being dead. That's why he keeps doing this and saying what he keeps saying. Indian economy is dead. We are the number 4 economy today in the world club with Japan. I mean, how could we have done that good? We were among the 11th when UPA was there, and we have done much better. But coming to what's happening, our GDP is ongoingly growing from last many quarters, and it still will grow. Just all the world rating agencies, IMF, World Bank, feels about it. Secondly, almost 25 crore people have been brought out of the poverty line, above the poverty line. This is not my data. It's again World Bank, which has said so, that we have almost 25 crore people who have brought out on the poverty line. And I still remember the welfare schemes, the money spent on welfare schemes, almost 50 lakh crore rupees, which has spent in the last few years, and out of which has reached to the every individual which was targeted with that welfare scheme. Unlike earlier, when it used to be only 15% which used to go and 85% used to be siphoned off, or used to be there was a pilferage of 85%. We remember when we got we came to power, the status of banks were, what was the status of banks? Banks were in shambles. Today, banks are robust and doing well. And also, SBI is among the Fortune 500 companies in the world today. Not only that, let's talk about how we have grown on airways, roadways, railways, metro, bridges, rural roads. Well, every year, 11 lakh crore rupees is being spent on infrastructure itself. So these are the parameters for the growth of economy. And also, how can we forget the defense? We used to always procure, almost import 90% of defense equipment.
Sure.
Today, we are producing, give me another second, we are doing almost 70% of the domestic production now in the defense. And how to forget the space technology? We are the cheapest in this satellite launch in the world, and in world where various countries are tying up with us for their satellite launches. So on every parameter, we are doing good. Even on social parameters, we are doing good. As far generation of self-employment, there are schemes of the government which has loan has been given to almost 42 crore people, where self-employment is being generated. So we are in what times when world is in difficult times, and then we are doing much better than various other economies in the world today.
Anshul, you want to respond to that? That, at a time when we've seen a lot of turbulence across the world, there are so many economists who, of course, you're choosing to say it doesn't matter what they have to say, but they are highlighting the fact that India is doing well. And in the face of an unpredictable Trump, God alone knows what he's going to throw at any country next. In the face of that, the way India has chosen to respond, many experts have chosen to hail. I'll highlight for you what The Economist itself has spoken of. Speaking of Prime Minister Modi's economic pragmatism, they've said this reformist turn deserves praise.
No, Akshita, if you choose to look at the figure that India is, a whatever, $4 trillion economy, and, weigh that against our economic progress, then that's highly misleading. It's a complete smokescreen, because you have to look at the per capita GDP. Some people may be making a lot of money, that may have skewed figures. Do you know, according to all the inequality reports that are coming in, 1% of the population owns 40% of India's resources. That truly cannot be the barometer to which to judge. No, Mr. R.P. Singh, I respect a lot. He's shown a lot of figures. Let me just respond to them. They're not inaccurate. Can I just respond to him?
Yeah, go ahead.
Able advocate. No, I just look at the real figures. Which world are you leading into? Are you leading into a world, into a future where you celebrate a figure like 20? That may go to 8 trillion. It's not going to go beyond that, because the economy is not progressing. There is a cloud of doubt against the GDP figure, which Mr. R.P. Singh also, which is 8.2%, because all your other macroeconomic indicators are terrible. Your FDI, your net FDI, which is capital inflows in India, your net FDIs fell to 96% last year. People are pulling their money out. They're not investing in India. Your PLI scheme, which is supposed to be, Akshita, your flagship scheme, which also Fareed spoke about in that interview. Let me just tell you a bit about it. You spent 2 lakh crores in making mobile sets, which are largely imported from China. You assemble them, and then you send them back and say that you've done a great deed. You spent 2 lakh crores in that investment. The government claims that they have made employment of 12 lakh employment by spending 2 lakh crores. They have claimed that. We don't even know how much employment has gone. This is complete imbalance. This PLI is an absolute disaster. All your economic indicators, by the way, your hunger index, you're 105. Your human development index, you're 140 out of 190.
No, but you're also cherry picking here, Anshul. You're also cherry picking here.
No, I'm looking at the...
You're choosing to ignore the positive side of it to refer to it. What is the definition of a dead economy? What is the definition of a dead economy ultimately?
That there is gross levels of inequity, that few people make a lot of money, and the rest, which is reflected in your, these are macro figures, by the way, reflected in your per capita and all the reports that have come out. Nobody spoke about India's inequity. Did anyone ask that question about, what about your GDP, what about your global hunger index? What about your human development index? These are also, foreign organizations. When you quote World Bank and say how great India we are doing, you should quote other organizations.
No, so you're quoting World Bank. You also quote a Fitch upgrader, GDP, fourth largest economy. None of that matters. You're ignoring all of that.
I'm telling you it doesn't matter, because that money is controlled by, your high frequency indicators. I admit, I'm not disputing what Mr. RP Singh is saying. Your high frequency indicators show a wonderful picture. That means rich are getting richer. Companies are making a lot of money. The stock market is going high. Where are
Okay.
they spending their money? They're not putting it in private capital, because that was Raji's question, right? It's everybody's question. They're not. What are they doing? They're deleveraging. That means they're settling off their debts. The books are really robust and they're making a lot of money.
Okay.
Where is the
Okay.
money going?
Mr. RP Singh, your response, please. The Congress saying essentially rich getting richer, poor getting poorer in India.
Well, Akshita, how many bridges, how many flyovers, how many roads? I mean, can you imagine the road infrastructure today? We are one of the best in the world today as far as the road infrastructure goes. Not the highways, the airports has been doubled, the hospitals has been doubled. I mean, all that generates employment. I mean, when you build up road, it generates employment. And also, as I told you, the Prime Minister's self-employment scheme, there's almost 42 crore people who have taken loan, small-scale loan from 50,000 to 5 to 10 lakh rupees. But they are also generating employment. That is also generating employment. But issue is, I mean, as I said, the man suffers from patrial cortex. I mean, you can't help him because Mr. Rahul Gandhi is a problem.
No, Mr. RP Singh, let's stick to data. Let's stick to data and facts, please. Let's stick to data and facts to counter what the Congress has said, what you have to say.
I told you. I just now told you. Okay.
So you've highlighted.
Today,
Okay.
we have. Give me a second.
Yeah. Yeah.
More than 16 crore people were given public toilets. I mean, obviously the money would have gone into it. It would have generated employment. I mean, you can build up 16 crore toilets without generating employment. The scheme for housing, more than 4 crore people were given houses last 5 years. I mean, obviously that would have generated employment. I mean, it can't be done in the thin air. So all these segments which are generating employment, they are being overlooked by my Congress friend.
Okay. Ultimately, you can look at the data whichever way you want. You can cherry pick which side of the debate you want to be on and figure out what you really think of India's economy either way. But thank you very much, gentlemen, for joining me, Mr. RP Singh and Anshul Avijit, for your time and for joining us here on To The Point. We leave it to you, the viewer, to decide whether you agree with Rahul Gandhi or not. Is India a dead economy, or when economists say that India is thriving, India's got a great growth story, do you agree with that version?